Hare Ram, Ram Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Radha Nila Madhav, Radha Nila Madhav, Hare Ram. Jaya Gauranita, 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 Jaya Gauranita, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Hare Gopal, Hare Ram, Sankirtan Ki, Samaveta Bhakta Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhakti Siki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So shall I read 1 lines and recite 10 3 times? So, Canto 2, Chapter 2, verse number 9. Prasanna Vaktram Nalinayat Keshanam Kadamba Kinjal Papishangavashasham Lasan Maharatna Hiranmayangadam Spuran Maharatna Kirita Kundalam. Translation. His mouth expresses his happiness, his eyes spreads like the petals of a lotus, and his garments yellowish like the saffron of a kadamba flower, and are bedecked with valuable jewels. His ornaments are all of gold set with jewels, and he wears a glowing headdress and earrings. So 9th, there is no purport, so we'll recite 10th verse also today. Unnidrahit pankaja karnikalaye Yogeshwara stapita pada pallavam श्रीलक्षणं कौस्तुभरत्नकन्दरम् अम्लानलक्ष्म्यवनमालयाचितम् उन्निद्रहृत्पङ्कजकर्णिकालये योगेश्वर स्थापित पादपल्लवम् श्रीलक्षणं कौस्तुभरत्नकन्दरम् अम्लानलक्ष्म्यवनमालयाचितम् उन्निद्रहृत्पङ्कजकर्णिकालये योगेश्वर स्थापित पादपल्लवम् श्रीलक्षणं कौस्तुभरत्नकन्दरम् अम्लानलक्ष्म्यवनमालयाचितम् उन्निद्रहृत्पङ्कजकर्णिकालये योगेश्वर स्थापित पादपल्लवम्
लक्षणं कौस्तुभरत्नकन्धरम्
लक्षणं कौस्तुभरत्नकन्दरम् लक्ष्म्यावनमालयाचितम् उन्निद्रहृत्पङ्कजकर्णिकालये योगेश्वर स्थापित पादपल्लवम् श्रीलक्षणं कौस्तुभरत्नकन्दरम् अम्लानलक्ष्म्यवनमालयाचितम् उन्निद्रहृत्पङ्कजकर्णिकालये योगेश्वर स्थापित पादपल्लवम् श्रीलक्षणं कौस्तुभरत्नकन्दरम् अम्लानलक्ष्म्यवनमालयाचितम् Word to word meaning. Unnidra, blooming, Rit, heart, Pankaja, lotus flower, Karnikalaye, on the surface of the world, Yogeshwara, the great mystics, Astapita, placed, Padapallavam, lotus feet, Shri, the goddess of fortune or a beautiful calf, Lakshanam, marked in that way, Kaustuba, the Kaustuba jewel, Ratna, other jewels, Kandaram, on the shoulder, Amlana, quite fresh, Lakshmya, beauty, Vanamalaya, by a flower garland, Achitam, spread over. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. His lotus feet are placed over the whorls of the lotus-like hearts of the great mystics. On his chest is a Kaustuba jewel, engraved with a beautiful calf, and there are other jewels on his shoulders. His complete torso is garlanded with fresh flowers. Purport. The ornaments, flowers, clothing, and all other decorations on the transcendental body of the personality of Godhead are identical with the body of the Lord. None of them are made of material ingredients. Otherwise, there would be no chance of their incorporating the body of the Lord. As such, in the Paravyoma, spiritual varieties are also distinguished from the material variegatedness. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri-yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Savana Raghunathan Tam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Savita Shri Vishakhan Vitansha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Garadhara Shri Vasadi Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we are reading the verse from the second canto, second chapter, 9th and 10th verse today. So first of all, I would like to seek blessings of all the devotees here, especially senior devotees like Priyabaram Prabhu, Kaustubh Prabhu, Kalindi Mataji, that I can speak something on this beautiful two verses which describes the form of the Lord as Paramatma in the heart. So the form of the Lord is very inconceivable because it is completely spiritual. So I seek their blessings so that I can share something on this verse for my purification of the heart. So just to have a small overview of till now what Sukadeva Goswami is telling. So in the first chapter, the name of the chapter is First Step in God Realization in this canto. So that was there. Now in the second chapter, the Lord in the heart. Now the description of the super soul form of the Lord and meditation on him is described by Sukadeva Goswami here. So just to have some connection with what is going on in this canto. So in the first canto, at the end of the first canto, Parikshit Maharaj asked 3 questions to Sukadeva Goswami. So in reply to those questions, Sukadeva Goswami starts speaking in this second canto. So first he starts speaking about so actually first chapter is 2 themes are there mainly. One is he describes actually in Vedas there are 2 paths. One is pravritti path, another is nivritti path. So path of pravritti is path of material enjoyment, where one follows scriptures with some motives of material enjoyment, maybe going to heavens or enjoying some luxuries. And another path is of nivritti. So where path of detachment is mentioned. So in the first chapter of this canto, so where Sukadeva Goswami tells what is the what you call mentality or how a mindset of a nivritti person is there, or a yogi who wants to get rid of material attachments. So how should be he, like what is his mentality where he stays and who goes to a secular place, and what all things he has. So such attributes are described, and also the form on which he meditates or he thinks of as a process for him. So that is described. So basically about the yogis, how they get free from this material world, those who want to get out of this material world, what is their mentality, and how they go to secular place, so many things, how they live and all those things is described, and what should be his physical or whatever the activities that is described, and then what he should process is he meditates, and his meditation is the impersonal form of the Lord, which was described before. So now, if you see generally in people, one is materialist who deny the complete existence of God, and they are little more elevated who wants to get rid of these material miseries. Before that comes, there are some people, so-called people who have no conception of God, but they have some spiritual inclination, we can say, because like they don't have understanding of God, but they want to be good and do good, because that is beginning of like where there. If you ask why to be good and do good, is just be good and do good. They don't have any understanding of God. Like even you see, it's not that where there is no conception of God, people are not good or elevated. They are elevated, but they don't have understanding or they don't have any information about God. Like if you go to some communist countries like China and this, they're not that all people are like very sinful who eats. There are also some people who with what you call sattva guna, what we say, like they have positive thinking, or they want something higher in life, not just enjoyment. So they follow, if because of facilities they don't have in their what you call origin, that culture of God in their thing. So they have only one understanding of doing good, be good. Why to follow rules? We have to be ethical. So they want to obey something, but they don't have understanding of supreme nature who has created such nice philosophy what we have got, which is there in India from childhood. So, so when a person wants to go ahead and go beyond these material things and look for something higher, so if they don't have understanding of God, so on the material level, what you can call, they have this understanding of be good. At least they come to this and they start appreciating nature. That also, some people look, they want to go to some calm place because they like, they feel some joy in that higher sense rather than just sense gratification. So that is like next level of these things. And to such people, first step is to bring them to God consciousness, to appreciate the Lord in the material form. So Sukadeva Goswami is gradually telling the processes of how people can be elevated. So the yogis, so for them is, so he's telling next step, from no conception of God to some conception of God, to see Lord in the material nature, through his energies. So people like natural, like beautiful paintings, just I was telling, serene atmosphere. So from no conception, they have some conception of, they're looking for God, but in some peaceful, in this way, energies of the Lord. So they like peaceful, nice, beautiful, serene atmosphere and all those things. So then now here Sukadeva Goswami is giving them next step, that you can see the Lord in the energies. Basically. So even Buddhism also has same philosophy. They don't have exceptions of God, but they have all principles which are like non-violence, silence, and all those things which are more closely related to God's understanding. So then, seeing the Lord in the material nature, that is what first step Sukadeva Goswami tells, and how to see. Many times we have, everyone has their own conception, but Sukadeva Goswami tells, even if you want to see the Lord in nature, how to see, seeing, so there is particular way, in which one has to think of Lord, even if he's seeing through the energies of the Lord, not just by his own way of random thinking. Just you can imagine anything to be God's form. So he says scriptures tell specific way also, if you want to appreciate the energy of the Lord through which you can remember the Lord. So he says we have seen whole canto describing, like whole chapter describing that seeing this we can consider mind of the Lord, different ways by which we can see material things and still connect, think of Lord. So that thing is described basically because one analogy which we can see is like whenever you see a painting or any sculpture, actually that doesn't only show the beautiful some structure there, but it also shows the mind of the person who is behind it. You can just see the mentality or mood or emotions of that painting, which person is pouring out through his whatever form he is showing. Same with this material nature is also creation of Lord. So when we see the material nature, we can find the Lord's heart, or we can understand something about Lord. So that is the first way where which is connecting from no conception to some conception of God for people who don't have any that understanding. The yogis who don't believe in Lord, who want to get rid of material world, they want something higher. So for them, directly giving Lord, for them it may be tough to understand. So next step is this form of the Lord, where they meditate on Virat Purusha, Virat form of the Lord, and then they develop some appreciation for the Lord. So just like paintings I was telling. So even we can see this shows the mindset, and even music also, culture, whatever the heart's emotions, they come out in the form of music also. Like we see modern music is like many people like, even I also, when I used to hear this Western music, I used to feel like someone is screaming. But nowadays people like it, but it is more out of passion. It's like anger or crying. Such kind of, when I hear, especially I feel it like that. So any culture, anything which we see, it portrays the person's mindset or heart. Same way, this nature what we see. So there we start appreciating the Lord's design, or we start appreciating the Lord. So that is first step, he says. And eventually, next further level of this thing is one, like we say, Bahir Narsimha, Hridaya Narsimha. So start seeing the Lord externally, then eventually one person will be purified. The yogi comes to the next stage. That stage is seeing the Lord or meditating the Lord in the heart. So this is a process of a gradual elevation. Even who wants to attain the path of nivritti, this is a process how they can understand Lord. So it is more similar like Ashtanga Yoga path also, which we can see. There they control the senses, and then slowly they rise, and then they start meditating on Lord. So same process is there parallelly, which is described here. So so I was telling, meditating on the form of the Lord in the heart. So, but this is not achieved by all the yogis, because they, those who, in previous some verses, there was a lot of description of what you call, person who get attracted to material things like phantasmagoria, heavenly pleasures, these pleasures. So yogi who start meditating on the Virat Purusha of the Lord, if he's still attached, then he may get attracted to so many material things. That's why Sukadeva Goswami is warning for that yogi, that once one may get attracted to so many material things and he gets stuck up there. But only a person who is free from all the material desires will further proceed, and he starts not just seeing the form of the Lord in the form of Virat Purusha, he gets elevated to next stage, which is he starts meditating on the Lord in the heart. So that is what is there. Now, Sukadeva Goswami is describing who is the Lord in the heart, how he looks, and what is his form. and he is describing the process of meditation on the Lord in the heart. And yesterday, description of Paramatma was given. Is how like how much he's like he's 8 inches and where is he situated and what all he carries. And today's verse 9th and 10th describes how the Lord looks. Prasanna Vaktram Nalinayana Keshanam. So his mouth is expressing joy, happiness. So and his eyes are like what you call petals, lotus petals, very elaborated like this. And then his garments and garments are like yellowish, like saffron of Kadamba flower. So if you see Kadamba flower, pollens of the Kadamba flowers are like yellowish. So that color is the Lord's dress, and he is wearing valuable jewels on his shoulder. His ornaments are of gold, and he wears a glowing headdress and earrings. So his Karana Kundalam are like shining. So that is described. And 10th verse, which I read. So description of lotus feet of the Lord, feet of the Lord, which are always in the hearts of great yogis who are meditating, and who are, and in his chest there is a Kaustubha jewel engraved with beautiful calf. That jewel is marked with footprints of the calf, and beautiful calf, and his shoulders there are jewels, and his body is with full fresh flowers. So that is spoken here, shared here by Sukadeva Goswami, how Lord looks. So one thing is, when you go to Vaikuntha, we have heard that everyone looks, there is everyone's form, the inhabitants' form is also same as that of the Lord. So if if a new person goes there and wants to distinguish who is Lord and who is the inhabitants there, who are servants of the Lord. So how to distinguish? Only distinction is this Kaustubha jewel, which is not found in the other inhabitants, because those who get Sarupya Mukti also get same form of the Lord, but only this Kaustubha jewel which is there, this is one of the thing which can distinguish. And this Kaustubha jewel is always marked with, here as it is written, that two meanings are there. One is calf, beautiful calves impression is there, or the Lakshmi's impression is there. So beautiful calf, because cows are very dear to Lord. Goloka, everything, Lord's names also are some, Gopal, many things, cow as it signifies deer. So the Kaustubha jewel is also marked with this calf's impression. So that is thing, and that is the distinguishing factor. Like we can decide, we can distinguish who is Lord and who is other inhabitants, just perfected living beings who have gone there. So that is one factor. And in the purport, Prabhupada mentions this. What he explains that the ornaments, flowers, clothing, and all others decoration of the transcendental personality of Godhead are identical with the body of the Lord, which we hear, Tadiya of the Lord. So anything connected to Lord is, will have same potency. We should not see it as different from the Lord. Even the flowers, anything which are connected to the Lord. So for this we can see an analogy of, like Prabhupada gives many times, even in lectures we have heard, like metal rod or iron rod. When you keep in fire, when you heat it, it also becomes red, we have seen, bright, and it starts emanating light and heat. If you touch, you will get burned. It will have same potencies of fire, because it is connected with the fire. Same way, anything, even though it may be material, flower or anything, it may look material, but when it is connected, used for the service of the Lord, it becomes completely spiritual. So it will have that same potencies as good as the Lord's exhibits potentials. So anything connected with the Lord. So that way we can understand this. So they are not different from they are no longer material entities. They are completely spiritual. Like iron rod also emits light and fire because it's associating with the fire, the iron rod. Same way, anything put on the Lord, we should not disrespect. That's why we should not step on the flowers which are offered to Lord. Even kartal, midang, we should keep on the place like on some mat or something. We should not treat it as an ordinary thing. So that thing we can understand. And Prabhupada also explains how same thing like this description comes in many places. Even Narad Muni describes the same form to Dhruva Maharaj. When he describes in the process of meditation, there also he describes in fourth canto. Even Kapil Dev also describes to Mother Devati, the form of the Lord. This comes in 3-4 places as Paramatma, this form of the Lord description. So there also in the purports I was going through. So there also Prabhupada describes what is this when anything on the Lord, if it has to be there, it has to be spiritual. And what it does means by spiritual when it becomes spiritualized. So Prabhupada says that flowers in the spiritual world, which are there on the body of the Lord, they are always ever fresh. One thing is when he says spiritual,
ಸೌಂಡ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಭು, ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. కొన్నిదరదే కానీ ಧಾರವಾಡ SNG ಕವಿತಾ ಉಮೇಶ್ ಗೌಡ. Hare Krishna. No audio, Prabhu.
But as long as we don't use in the service of the Lord. So the flowers may be material, but when they are put on the Lord, they are as good as Lord. They have that capacity of purifying us. So the fragrance the flowers which we offer to Lord, and we smell them or we touch them on the feet, we are actually placing the Lord's feet only as such. They can purify. They have the same potencies. That's what we can see. And even though any material things, so that's why I had Prabhupada also used to say. So many yogis we may see in the modern world, they think this is material, this will bind us. But material things can be spiritualized, or they, when we connect them in with the Lord, having material things is not a issue as long as we connect or use that thing for the service of the Lord. So that thing we can see. So we can spiritualize when we use that in the service of the Lord. So fan may be used but when it perfect, rather what you call telling that I don't want. That conception can be avoided when we connect it to the Lord, when we connect it to the spiritual service of the Lord. And in one lecture, I was hearing the form of the Lord is very beautiful. And Prabhupada writes the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He says Krishna. Krishna means all attractive. But sometimes we see the form of the Lord. We may find it is so much not attractive. Like here it is said that garments of the Lord are like people, that yellowish color may not look attractive. We may see how Lord's form may be beautiful. For even not only materialists, even many of us feel when we see the form of the Lord, sometimes it may not be so much like Prabhupada says, Lord is blackish in color, beautiful, like bluish, like black. We not feel attract. To feel that form of attraction, we should have this. We should not have material form. We should develop the spiritual vision. Like that's what Prabhupada says. Premanjana bhakti chirochen bhakti vilochanena. So ointment of love is required on the eyes. So unless we are, because in this thing. And the purports also in the previous purports I was going through. So unless one is freed from this material desires heart, we cannot appreciate the form of the Lord. So we can try to understand this with a simple example. For a mother, child is always beautiful. Even though externally he may be blackish or he may be short, he may have so many defects in the child, but mother likes and mother always loves, or the form of the child is very attractive to mother because she has some affection or love for the Lord, that child. Same way, unless we develop that love or connection with the Lord, we cannot start appreciating the deities or the form of the Lord also. So even though the scripture describes the form of the Lord and how he looks, how he wears, if you see in material sense, we may not find it so much beautiful. Like for some people, lotus may not be so much beautiful, or they may find some things much more softer than the lotus also. The Lord's like hands are like lotus. Descriptions are there in the scriptures, but we may not find it so much this for our appreciation, because we fail it because we have still material vision. So unless we develop that love or that vision filled with the love for the Lord, we cannot appreciate what scriptures are describing the beautiful form of the Lord. And if we want to develop that Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochana, that vision for the Lord, that love for the Lord, that happens only by the mercy of the Lord. Or one of the pastime which we see is, or it requires the grace of the pure devotee of the Lord. So one of the pastime which I was recollecting was this Dhanurdas example in Ramanujacharya's. So he was that there was like Ramanujacharya was going with his disciples, And on one day there was possession of the Lord in the uh, place in the Kanchipuram, I think, Srirangam. So the procession of the Lord going, Palaki Utsav was going on. And there was one servant who was carrying the umbrella of the Lord. And but he was looking at one beautiful woman, and he was just seeing at her, not the form of the Lord. He is carrying the umbrella, Lord is there in front only, but he is constantly throughout the procession, he is looking at one beautiful, whatever one woman who was there in that procession who was going on. So Ramanacharya noticed it, and he asked that person, here so much Lord is so beautiful and is decorated, all people are seeing him and like celebrating it. So what is there in that woman which you are not able to, what attracts you? So he says the eyes are very attractive of that woman. So then Lord the Ramanujaya tells to that person that you tomorrow you go and take darshan of the Lord. So actually Ramanujaya prays to Lord that you reveal your transcendental form to him, and so that this person gets what you call his taste for material things goes. So then when he takes the darshan of the Lord, he becomes a pure devotee. He becomes devotee. He even though he marries her, but his attraction for that woman goes. So there here we can see that mercy of the Lord he receives through the mercy of prayers of Ramanujacharya. Even though he was not qualified, but still Ramanujacharya prayed for him, and then he got that vision to see the form of the Lord. And once he saw the beautiful form of the Lord, he was not attracted by the material things. Even though that lady was eventually he was married to her. Like Ramanujacharya told only him Dhanudas to marry her, but he was not even attracted by her because once he saw the form of the Lord. So it requires the Lord's mercy, and that Lord's mercy can be received by pleasing the or by the mercy of his pure devotees. So even Prabhupada says to achieve this form, this meditation, what is there, to see this divine vision, one has to go, here the yogi has to go through a difficult process. In Ashtanga Yoga process, they have to go to some secluded place, do yama, niyama, asana, then pranayama. By breathing process, they have to control their mind. In some purports, Prabhupada was describing that after controlling their mind, then they have to do pratyahara, senses, all those things. So these are all there to purify mind. And once one who is free from all these material desires, and this next process comes of this meditation, where they those who don't have understanding of God, they meditate on impersonal form, and then they purify, and then they meditate on Paramatma form of the Lord. And so this is a very, what we call, another process where gradually it raises person. And in proper rights, so parallelly he gives an alternative, which is Bhakti Yoga, which we have got by the mercy of Parampara and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Same thing we can develop this transcendental vision. Prabhupada says one thing is by serving pure devotees, as you shared here, that way we can attract the mercy of the Lord, and then we can develop that love for the Lord, and then we can see the same transcendental form. Another way Prabhupada says is, another thing in the purpose is, same thing can be achieved just by chanting the holy names of the Lord and hearing it. So he says that when we hear this transcendental sound, it also purifies. What a yogi undergoes this process of doing all these things, same thing a devotee can achieve just by attentively chanting and hearing. So same thing, because his all material conception desires in the heart will be washed off, and then he can start appreciating what all the forms, and he can start seeing that, develop that transcendental vision or ointment of love he can see, and then he can start appreciating the things in the scriptures, and he can get the mercy of the Lord. He can develop that love for the Lord. So that's what Prabhupada writes in the purports. this one I wanted to share when I was trying to go to the purport. Even the purport is very small, but these were things which I could collect. So if any the shortcomings are there, devotees can correct it and comment. If they want to add, they can add, because for me it's tough to elaborate things when there are stuff and the purport are long, then I can share. But some things I went to so many places and collected some things and wanted to share these things. So other devotees can add anything if they have. Hare Krishna. Any other things? Any questions?
So many quotations.
That's what Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Six.